The following is a hockey podcast out of Vancouver and Surrey, British Columbia. It'll only consist of a lot of puck talk and even more BS, or in actual words, banter and satire. Enjoy, and as always, go Canucks go.
We're about to find out if Quinn Hughes was Team Miller after all.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to another episode of Locked On Canucks. My name is Trevor Beggs. That guy is Kyle Bhawan. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Go check out FanDuel now and be right in the middle of all the NFL action all season long by visiting FanDuel.com. Talked about it last night on the post-game show, but let's dive into it a bit more today. The report yesterday night that the New York Rangers are the latest team to enter the chat on Quinn Hughes. I want to touch on the Rangers' interest in general, why I think it makes sense for the Rangers, why I think the Rangers of all teams will make a push for Quinn Hughes. What could that look like? We'll also get into some hot seats here in Vancouver and some news and notes about injured Canucks, specifically the return of Thatcher Demko. Before we get to that, let me introduce my co-host, Kyle Bhawan. Kyle, you weren't on the postcast last night when I started talking about the Hughes to New York rumors, but look, there's 31 GMs around the NHL, and there's certainly an argument that all 31 teams should be interested in Quinn Hughes. But each GM has a different level of risk tolerance. Like, I think about Kevin Cheveldayoff in Winnipeg, right? A pretty low-risk GM overall. Chris Drury with the New York Rangers is not a low-risk GM. This is a guy that's made bold moves before. Hell, he made a bold move with this team not that long ago. This is a guy that could be trying to save his job, right? He's in his 5th year in the job. The Rangers are trending downwards. I really think that Chris Drury will make a push for Quinn Hughes. Kyle, what are your thoughts? Is this realistic or is this just noise?
First of all, Trevor, look at what the Canucks are making me do. I'm drinking a sugary drink at 2:00. You know me, Trevor. When was the last time you saw me drink a soda before? Exactly. Never. You've known me for 10 years.
Without alcohol? Yeah, it's been a while. That's barely a San Pellegrino. That's barely a soda.
What do you mean? This tastes exactly like a soda. It's got 29 grams of sugar. It tastes fantastic. Shout out to KGB for bringing it to the studio. Oh, yeah. Is Quinn Hughes turning into a New York Ranger very soon? I hope not, because that would scare me. You know why it would scare me? Because the NHL is so mid, and we could live in a world where, like, Shesterkin gets hot, and Quinn Hughes and JT Miller win a Stanley Cup before the Vancouver Canucks. Okay? Anyways, do I think it's going to happen? No. Why? Because the Rangers don't have the assets to make this move, in my opinion. Like, they don't. Like, I know I'm a big proponent of acquiring, 4 first-round picks, 3 first-round picks, like, stack it up. But I do still want an asset on top of that that's, almost NHL ready, if not NHL ready. No, straight up.
Look at this. We got Kyle Rutherford in the house. Let's go.
No, I'm just saying, like, I still want that 20-year-old, and I or that 23-year-old or whatever, right? Like, on top
of a
of
24-year-old in Alexis Lafreniere.
I don't want that. I don't want that in a Quinn Hughes package. If I'm Rutherford and Alvin, like, I'm looking at Simon Nemec as the person at the top of the list, or Martone from Philadelphia. Like, I'm shooting large for that player, and then acquiring the first round picks. With the Rangers, the only value you're getting are in those first round picks. Because again, for the 5th or 6th or 7th or 8th time, you could have a mid team like the Rangers and employ Quinn Hughes and still be a mid to bad team. Yeah, like, you're a Shesterkin injury away, maybe even a Jonathan Quick injury away, a retirement away from having one of those first round picks be a lottery team. All that being said, Trevor, there's smoke to this only because the Rangers and the Devils are rivals, and there has to be some competition here when it comes to, A, if you're the Rangers GM and Chris Drury, you may want to acquire this guy, and B, you want to make it harder for the Devils to acquire him this year by maybe, like, upping the bidding process, right? Like the bidding war, and this could be some like warfare going on with Chris Drury, just putting his name in the hat, because I feel as if even they know, like, the Rangers don't have any of the assets available to make any big trade this year, in my opinion. Involved in like a top tier superstar?
Yeah, I would say never. And I know that you and I are not the biggest fans of Alexis Lafreniere, but the Rangers will be wanting to see what they can get for Alexis Lafreniere. They didn't want to give up JT Miller for Alexis Lafreniere, but you're sure as hell bet they would be willing to give him up for Quinn Hughes, right? And in terms of the assets, I mean, Kyle, we've talked about this on this program. What makes most sense for the Canucks, whether they do it or not, is largely the draft picks that they get back, right? I mean, look at the Erik Karlsson trade. We brought that up before. Every Dayers know. Most Canuck fans are well aware of that return. But the Ottawa Senators made that trade with the San Jose Sharks and ended up getting a third overall pick because the San Jose Sharks miscalculated, put too much money in their defense, had a 40-year-old Patrick Marleau playing top 6 minutes, and they bottomed out. Now, for the Canucks, I think if you're making a bet on which team might crap out if you're getting first-round picks, I think the New York Rangers would be a decent bet.
Mm-hmm.
Look, we got to remember, like everyone's saying, like even in the comments, I see Roma in the comments saying, Fitzy's not falling for this propaganda. Quinn Hughes wants New Jersey, so get it done by trading him for Seamus Casey in a first. No, don't do that. You got to shoot higher than that. But the reality is there's no trade protection with Quinn Hughes. The Canucks should trade him to the team that's willing to offer the most. And if that's not New Jersey, trade him somewhere else. And for the New York Rangers, I think there's going to be motivation here too. I think for Chris Drury personally, like I said, he's entering year 5 on the job. There was lots of chatter in that market before the season started about him being on the hot seat. And I know everyone in the East is kind of on the same page right now, but the New York Rangers are right in that mix, right? They're right in the mix with everyone else in the Eastern Conference. They're actually ahead of the Devils in the standings right now.
Mm-hmm. Damn, really?
Chris Drury, yeah. The Devils are 3-7 in their past 10. Rangers, I think, have 2 regulation losses in their past 10, so they've picked up some points. For Chris Drury, like, does that not kind of scream of, I'm making this trade to save my job, right? Everyone in the East is mid. Let's go get Quinn Hughes. Let's have a back end that has Quinn Hughes and Adam Fox playing in front of Igor Shesterkin, and let's see what happens. I'm not saying it's the right move for the Rangers, but I don't think the JT Miller move was the right move for the Rangers, and they made that trade as well. And look, in terms of assets, Kyle, like you're saying, this Rangers team doesn't have, a blossoming prospect pool by any means. Like you're talking about guys like Gabe Perreault. Gabe Perreault, I'd say, similar to Jonathan Lecker-Mackey, undersized. He's more of a playmaker than a shooter, although he does have 10 goals in 17 AHL games this season. You got some middle 6 wingers or projectable middle 6 wingers like Brendan Othman. You got defensemen like Surrey, BC native of BC Bud, EJ Emery, Scott Morrow. So again, these aren't surefire prospects by any means, but like if you're looking at a trade with the Rangers, it's probably a package that's like Lafreniere, Perreault, and a couple firsts, maybe a couple seconds in there as well. Like that would be a comparable package for what the Ottawa Senators got for Erik Karlsson, who, again, we've talked about. Quinn Hughes should command more than that, but he might not just because of the whole brother situation. Yeah. And for the Rangers as well, right? I think the proposition of Hughes going to a division rival is a scary thought. It should be a scary thought for Chris Drury because that team is not equipped to overtake the New Jersey Devils right now, I don't think, right? Never mind if they get Quinn Hughes on the team. So I think if you're Chris Drury, you're trying to save your job. You're trying to do whatever you can to make sure Quinn Hughes doesn't go to the New Jersey Devils. And even if it just forces the New Jersey Devils to pay more for Quinn Hughes, you've done your job.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like, if this is all part of the bidding war and we get more for Quinn because of this, not even from the Devils, but because more teams are entering the draw. And I don't think it's just like relative on Twitter too, because I'm seeing a lot of trade proposals. And I don't know if they're just like memes, but it's like, oh, I'm hearing the Winnipeg Jets are in the race. I'm hearing the Calgary Flames would be interested in Quinn Hughes. I'm hearing, it's like any team would be interested in this, thus making that the demand not just high, but the asset pool in return being astronomical. Like I think we were onto it. Again, you're listening to Locked On Canucks. Like 4 weeks ago, we're talking about trading Quinn Hughes. Like it like. We're ahead of it. I'm telling you right now, it's going to happen. This is going to be one of the biggest trades in NHL history. That's what it feels like. And say what you want about him being a Devil in 20 months or whatever. That nothing is for certain. Nothing is for certain. But one thing that is for certain right now is Quinn Hughes on the block. Like a 25, 26-year-old dude in his prime who could play 30 minutes a game. It dictates the play. Like we're living in a world. Like I know Quinn Hughes is maybe taking a step back this season, but if the Canucks have better forwards, Quinn Hughes has 12 more assists this year. Like he's still playing at an extremely high level. And because of that, and because of the NHL being so mid, I'm telling you, this trade is going to be the biggest trade in NHL history. That's what it feels like. And I know, again, people think I'm stupid for demanding 3 first-round picks, 4 first-round picks. The way this is heading, I feel like that is where it's going. And in relation to the New York Rangers, Like you bringing up Gabe Perreault, Alexis Lafreniere, and like 2 firsts and 2 seconds. I mean, now you're kind of interesting me because you're like, that's a little bit interesting. That being said, like, I will say this, like, I know the Rangers have been mediocre for like almost a year and a half now. I mean, I know the year before they won the President's Trophy and whatnot, but I would be much more interested in trying to maybe trade Quinn somewhere else, because I do worry about the Rangers actually turning into a good team and those first-round picks being in the mid to late 20s. Like, they have a world-class goalie. And now what? They're going to have Quinn Hughes and Adam Fox? You know what I'm saying? Like, I know JT Miller probably has like 15 points this year, or 18 points this year, or whatever it is. But I just feel like there's more room for the Rangers to be a good team, and thus making those first-round picks like not that valuable than, let's say, the Detroit Red Wings. Because I think the Red Wings are ass. Like, I think they're just like a mediocre team, and lucky that they're playing in the mid-NHL right now, because that's how the Canucks should be planning this trade. Like, they have to, like, I'm looking at like the first-round picks the Canucks can get in return, and I'm ranking the Red Wings as a worse team than the Rangers. You know what I'm saying? Like, you get what I'm trying to say, Trevor? Like, and especially if the assets you're getting back when it comes to the players that have already been drafted, being Gabe Perreault and Alexis Lafreniere, like, I don't know if that's enough for me to bank on the first round picks or the draft picks I'm getting being good enough. Like, I'm sorry. And that's why I keep going back to the Devils or the Philadelphia Flyers. And I'm doing whatever it takes to get like Nemec. I am. And say what you want about Simon Nemec and some of his defensive numbers. I heard Thomas Drance talk about this. Like, when he plays against different competition, it's not looking as good. But dude, Quinn Hughes in his second year against different competition in the All-Canadian division. Was that good? No, it wasn't. It sucked. And I know that was without Chris Tanev or whatever, but it wasn't good too. Like, I'm not looking at Simon Nemec's numbers against different competition when he's like 21 or 22 years old and like turning away from that, because based on some of the stuff I've seen this year, especially with this clutchness too, like I think you just got a cool, swaggy player there. And Alexis Lafreniere, I'm sorry, right now he's not cool and swaggy, and he does have that untapped potential. But is that going to be untapped playing alongside Elias Pettersson? Probably not. Like 100%, that's not going to happen. Maybe Filipino. Oh, Filipino. Yeah, sorry. They have some chemistry, but Filipino can't stay healthy. Like, I just have less confidence in that guy panning out as opposed to a Nemec. And even like, I keep hearing great things about this Porter Martone guy. I'm reaching higher, dude. I'm reaching higher.
Yeah, I think you're overvaluing the Rangers' ability to be good a little bit there, Kyle, even with Quinn Hughes on the team. But how about you guys let us know in the comments, if Quinn Hughes goes to the Rangers, what do you think the trade package looks like? On the other side, I want to talk about some hot seats, and I want to give you some more tidbits about Rangers and the Canucks and why I think a trade could be possible here. That's all coming up next on Locked On Canucks. All right, before we get back to the show, let's shout out our friends over at FanDuel. FanDuel, they want to let you know that NFL Sundays move fast. And if you want to get in on the fast-moving action, you got to go check out FanDuel, okay? Whether it's live in-game bets, the same game parlays, player props, they got it all. They make the action on Sundays just a little bit more exciting. Of course, you can bet NHL there as well. Look at some of the odds for tonight. How are the Quinn Hughes suitors doing? The Rangers are favored to win over the Chicago Blackhawks. New Jersey Devils underdogs against the best team in Canada, the Ottawa Senators. How could it be? And the Philadelphia Flyers are favorites against the San Jose Sharks. Whatever you want to bet on, go check it out on FanDuel. Visit FanDuel.com and download the FanDuel app today. Let's get back to the show.
People, we back doing this, and that's talking about your Vancouver Canucks. And speaking of you, let's get to some comments. All right, this one comes from Auntie Nancy. So in everyone's eyes, literally everyone thinks Quinn Hughes is gone. You can blame us. You can blame the people. You can blame the pessimism. You can blame the standings. You can blame so many things. But I'm going to put the blame on Quinn Hughes. He hasn't, as the captain of the Vancouver Canucks, being 8 points out of a playoff spot or 9 points out of a playoff spot 30 games into the season, we have not heard Quinn Hughes say once he's focused on just fixing this in Vancouver. He's focused on being a long-term Canuck. He's focused on being the captain of the Canucks. There's reports of this guy already selling his condo. Some people are backing it up, saying it's true. I asked the group chat too with our sources. They said it's true too. Like something, you can see it in his eyes. He's kind of, it's giving me, it's not the same as like Pedersen and Miller, but like the inevitables, it's already there. It's already there. Like here's Canucks fans. Like if he wanted to stay, he could shut this all down right now. He could. If he was this prideful captain that, may sign a 1 or 2 year extension at the end of the year to like prolong this a bit longer, you would have already heard it from his mouth. Like, dude, I'm staying. Don't worry. I'm not worried about the noise. Let's try. We got Demko coming back on Thursday. Let's try going on a 5-game winning streak. But we haven't heard that once. We haven't. We've heard him touch on the noise and how it's there. We heard him calling Fitz his uncle Tom Fitzgerald Fitzy, right? Like it is what it is, and I feel as if he's had enough. That's what it is.
Yeah, I mean, there's always an element of never say never. Things can change fast in this industry, but the body language from Hughes, both on and off the ice, all the smoke around the situation, talking about his new GM like they're buds, and of course, there's a big family connection there. It just, there's nothing right now that really says that Quinn Hughes is going to stay in Vancouver and ride this out. And look, they're at the bottom of the freaking standings. Kyle, what were we talking about in September and October?
But Trevor, they're at the bottom of the standings. But again, they're a 5-game winning streak away. They're a 4-game winning streak away. Like they're playing Buffalo, Like I'm just saying, like they're a 4-game winning streak away from being 4 points out or 5 points out, and it's not like mission impossible from a competitive captain. And he is a competitive dude, but I don't think he's thinking about the team. Like he's already past it. And even when I heard him talk yesterday, and again, I want to preface this. I'm a huge Quinn Hughes fan. Like I think he's an uber competitor. I think he's a warrior. I think he plays through injury. I think he does whatever it takes. And he kind of touched on this yesterday when he spoke about him doing his best. I'm doing my best. Like if I wasn't reaching my standard, then it would be a problem. Great answer. And Trevor, correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe I'm nitpicking too much, but where was the we? Where was the we? No, straight up. Where was any time taken talking about the team? And let's be honest, Trevor, I know they're getting unlucky, but based on my eye test, over the past 2 weeks, the Canucks have been playing better. They have been playing better. Like, and I'm not thinking 2 weeks is a long sample size, but I don't know. I'm seeing different things from this team, like more consistency defensively. If the Demko's healthy in like the past month, like maybe they have a few more points. All I'm trying to say is we don't want the team's not 5-20 and whatever. The team's not 15 points out of a playoff spot. They're still single digits. There's still 50 games left. And if I'm the best player in the world or one of the best players in the world and I'm the captain of a team, it would be so appreciative for people in that room, especially for a guy like Demko coming back in the lineup too. Just give the fans a little bit of we still got this, but we're not hearing that from Quinn too.
Yeah, I know. I get the talk about 6 points out of a playoff spot, which is true for the Canucks right now, but they also have the worst point percentage in the NHL. Like they're literally the worst team in the league right now.
I know they are, but dude, we just look. What did we? Dude,
like Kyle, my question to you, and we talked about this a couple weeks ago. Like, do you think this team has some St. Louis Blues magic in them? Like, it's either that or it's time to look in the effing mirror and start making some changes that moves this franchise forward.
Dude, I don't think so. You know where I'm at. I'm on Team Tank, but if I'm the captain of a team and I'm only 6 points out of a playoff spot 30 games into a season, why are you looking defeated? And look, Mike Laval's even saying like other teams have 2 or 3 games in hand. I don't check the standings, but I've used the term even 8 points behind a playoff bar, 9 points behind a playoff bar. If I'm 30 games into the season, I'm not talking in individualistic terms. If I'm the captain, I'm not. Like, where's the we? But we're not seeing that. he signed out. He checked out. And no, the tone has been set, whether it be from Albion or Rutherford, where, you're allowed to be emotional behind the microphone. You don't have to stay stoic and poised, like whatever. Look at Miller and Pettersson last year, right? Pettersson being the highest paid player on this team. Last year being really emotional in front of the microphones too. Like, I'm not trying to put the complete blame on Quinn for not being able to be stoic and just kind of even give us the cliche answers. The team wins, blah blah. You know what I'm trying to say? But the fact that, like, we haven't even got 1% of that, it's telling. It's telling, and I feel like he's just had enough, and it is what it is. It is what it is. Like, it's over. It's over.
Well, the only reason it may not be over, Kyle, like you said, is if this team does go on a run. And I think that leads us to the Thatcher Demko news. As Canuck fans probably know by now, Thatcher Demko announced to the media today that he will be back in that Buffalo Sabres game on Thursday, December 11th. The Canucks, this is their last home game. They're actually doing like their Christmas night at Rogers Arena. Maybe I'll wear my Christmas sweater to that one. Who knows? Keep things light in the locker room, something goofy. I got a Cookie Monster. I got a Cookie Monster sweater, I think that's what I'm going to rock. I think there should be fear in this fan base, and shout out to Mother Nucker. He's saying that too. I'm scared Denver's going to come back and make us feel competitive again, causing us to make bad deals. Look, Kyle, you want to talk about desperate management teams? This Canucks management team is probably going to be a desperate one right now, and I get worried about them making the wrong move too. But if you're a Canuck fan, I think most Canuck fans realize that we should be tanking, get the best draft pick possible, reset this thing, do some of this franchise has never done before, instead of putting lipstick on the pig and just waddling in mediocrity for the end of time. But Thatcher Demko coming back is a big boost for this team in the short term, and I do wonder. Again, you have the Sabres and you go on the road to play 5 Eastern teams. None of them are really competitors right now, although again everyone in the East is kind of in that mushy middle, but it's Buffalo, and then it's a 5-game road trip against the Devils, the Rangers, the Islanders, the Bruins, and the Flyers to wrap up before Christmas. I'm not going to say they're going to win the majority of those games, but the odds of doing so are certainly better when you have Thatcher Demko in net for most of those games.
Oh, 100%. And I know, he just made out of glass, and you don't know how long he's going to last. But based on how he talked today to the people, to the brass, there seems, and this is not surprising, but there seems to be a level of like accountability coming from his soul, from his spirit, where he believes he could save this team. And correct me if I'm wrong, go listen to it. I feel like he's coming back a little early. Straight up. Like,
Which is funny. He's literally been gone for a month, right? November 11th is when he exited with an injury, and he's coming back on December 11th. You're right.
I have to re-listen to it, but I feel like he let it slip a little, like that's part of the reason why he needs to get back. And, again, Mike can say whatever he wants. There's other teams that have games in hand on the Canucks, but end of the day, they are 6 to 8 to 9 points out, and there's 30 games left. That's all I'm saying.
There's 50 games left.
No, we've only played 30. There's 50 games left, right?
Yeah.
And there is room to make it up. If you're a competitor in that room, for real, if you're a competitor in that room, you still believe that. So,
yeah.
So Demko,
they need Demko and Pettersson back to even have a shot. I mean, with their center ice depth right now, it's not happening unless you get both those guys back and just rocking it.
Pettersson is probably back though. Supposedly he might be at practice tomorrow. They avoided disaster. But speaking of disaster, like, let's see what happens tomorrow. Like, they want to make the playoffs, or Thursday, sorry. If they want to make the playoffs in that Buffalo game, if David Kampf is still playing with Garland and Besser, then you kind of know that this team they don't want to do it. They don't want to do it. Like, yeah. Anyways, it's been an emotional year. I'm drinking soda at 9. It feels like 9:30 in the morning, 2:40 in the afternoon. And here we are, man. Here we are saying, I don't know. There's still a chance.
So you're saying there's a chance. I'm talking about a chance of real change in the Canucks organization. Maybe real change is a little strong, but certainly some change. Let's talk about that on the other side. And I got one more tidbit on Chris Drury that I want to share with the listeners here on Locked On Canucks. All right, before we get back to the show, let's shout out our friends over at Gametime, baby. Canucks tickets, those prices are plummeting. So if you want to see the Canucks, it's cheaper than it's been in a while to go check them out. You can also find tickets on Gametime for anything else, like the NFL action. Kyle, we might have to save our podcast money to go check out Seattle and Green Bay in Wisconsin in January, man. Let's go, man.
Or in Seattle. Or in Seattle, you never know. You just never know. Trevor, you're only like a game. Aren't you like a game and a half away from being number one in the NFC West?
Yeah, I just looking at the schedules, I have more faith in Green Bay winning the division than I do the Seahawks winning their division. Like Detroit's like a game and a half back. I don't have a ton of faith in Chicago. Whereas when I look at the Rams and the Niners, I think those are going to cause the Seahawks more problems than the Lions and the Bears are going to cause the Packers.
Okay.
But we're going to be looking for tickets, man, when they face off in the playoffs. Let's not kid ourselves. And if you're a World Cup person, you can find those tickets on Gametime too. Skip the messy FIFA mess and go find the tickets on Gametime. Take the guesswork of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, download the app, make an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go, and Gametime, baby. Let's get back to the show.
Boom, bam. Okay, we back doing this, talking about your Vancouver Canucks and reading comments because, we are all locked on Canucks. NGK earlier in the conversation said two things. He said, we're not getting Porter Martoni III from Philadelphia, Porter Martone. Okay, thanks for your optimism. And he's asking if KGB is Coulthard got bounce. Damn, bro. How did people know KGB's Coulthard got bounce on the Locked On Canucks side of things, man? That's kind of crazy, man.
Let's go, man.
Yep, it is Coulthard got bounce. The homie who has only watched one Canucks game in his whole life. Isn't that crazy?
That's why he's so happy all the time.
That's why he doesn't have hair too. What? Oh man. Beer Baron saying seeing Kemp as an 1C as on the Canucks lineup has been bone chilling. I want to expand on this point a little bit more. I know like everyone doesn't want David Kampf talk. And I know like 5 minutes ago, I'm like, oh, we're only 6 points out, 8 points out. Like, I just want to cheer for a team. This is just the way I am, Trevor. Okay. I want to cheer for a team that internally in that room, they're able to block out the noise. Like, who cares if you and I are talking about the tank? Who cares if like this media member and this media member is like, oh, rebuild and we don't have enough talent, blah, blah. I don't care. You're a competitive dude. You're playing in the NHL. In that room, I want y'all thinking you have a chance. That's just the way I am, and those are the type of boys I want to cheer for real. That's just me. That being said, and I don't know if like your media friends have been talking about this, but isn't that the biggest sign of dumb tanking? I know they don't have a lot of depth down the middle, but like the David Kampf thingy, like it's just confusing to me. It's confusing to me. Like he's not in the right place to. I don't even. Again, I know they don't have options, but to me that could be a tank indicator. No.
Yeah, I touched on that on the post-game show last night, right? I mean, Adam Foote's the real tank commander for playing David Kampf big minutes, playing Lucas Reichel big minutes when he was in the lineup. I mean, Lucas Reichel went from second-line center for 12 games to just completely out of this lineup. And, right now, I mean, I said it last night, go check out last night's episode, but you look at the Canucks centers right now, and I know they don't have options, but Aatu Rato and Max Sasson have both outplayed David Kampf. It's been pretty obvious to anyone watching these games. The fact that David Kampf is still playing 17, 18 minutes a night, it doesn't make any sense. And when you have Sasson and Ratu playing, 11 to 14 minutes a night, and Ratu only got that bump after scoring 2 goals, probably should have been 3 goals against the Minnesota Wild. So look, I don't think this organization is trying to tank. I really don't. But I do think Adam Foote is
a bad head
maybe
coach.
Accidentally the tank commander of this operation right now, whether he wants to believe it or not.
Yeah, and yeah, David Kampf. I've questioned Adam Foote's ability to coach all season long. And things like this make me think about where would the Canucks be if 8 games into the year they did fire Adam Foote and hire Pete DeBoer? Like when the margins are so slim and you're like 8 points out of a playoff spot or whatever, like I'm again, as a sports fan who's gotten older in his life, like I'm 32 and a half years old, I've seen a lot. I have come to the conclusion that like so much of your regular season success equates to like the coach that you have. Like he could win you a couple of games. And I personally think Adam Foote, I don't know if he's earned us like 1 point this season, maybe two. Like, I don't know, but he's just the X's and O's, the details.
He earned us 1 point when he had Besser, Garland, and Sherwood out there in overtime. The 3 forward look. That was Adam Foote's shining moment as a head coach so far.
Or even when he puts Sasson on the ice. When did he score? What game was that? It was on the road trip. Like
Nashville. We lost that game though.
Did we lose it? No, it was like when he scored in front of the net. It banked off Sherwood, then it banked off Sasson. Anyways, man, it's just, yeah, where would we be with a better head coach? And, at the end of the day, like, maybe he is our tank commander. I'm pretty sure when the Kings drafted Byfield, they had Willie Darnay as their coach or whatever. Mm-hmm. So,
yep.
Bad head coaches truly do get you there. Trevor, one more question. Before we get out of here, again, the Rangers and the Quinn Hughes thing. Like, I don't know if you answered this. It was 30 minutes ago, but that doesn't scare you at all. Like, being a Canucks fan, a diehard Canucks fan, 18 months ago, like Quinn and JT are the alphas on this team. They're the leaders. They're doing the most too. They're playing the best. They're amongst the best 1-2 punches in hockey when it comes to like a defenseman and a centerman. And I know Miller has taken a big step back, and he may not ever get back to that place. But Canucks luck would give us a scenario where those two again find success. And Trevor, how about this one? Ask you 2 questions at once and then end off the show. I know this is horrible journalism here, but if it does work out between Hughes and Miller, because Hughes goes to the Rangers, how does that make Elias Pettersson look? Like, I keep saying it. No, actually, I won't say it because, I don't want to take big shots at Elias right now. One love to Elias, going through a lot, condolences, and all that. And it's way bigger than hockey. Again, I don't know if it's the right time to say what I want to say about the hockey player, but man, oh man, that is like, that's a story. That's a story. That's a story.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty big what if. This is why I like the Rangers as a competitor for Quinn Hughes. Because I don't think Quinn Hughes is going to put that team over the top. I think they're too old and too thin up front. Look, I know you got Shesterkin in the net and you have Hughes and Fox in the defense. I think they can be good. I think they make the playoffs. I do not think they're a cup caliber team by any stretch of the imagination with Quinn Hughes on that team. And that's why I'm hoping the Rangers make a big dumb push to get Quinn Hughes. And I'll say this before we get out of here. You look for history of GMs who have dealt together before. Chris Drury has made 5 deals with the Vancouver Canucks since he took over as GM in 2021. That's the most he's traded with any team. So keep that in the back of your mind, Canuck fans, as we keep talking about Quinn Hughes rumors. Go ahead.
I want to say one more thing.
Yeah.
I know we have to let go of the show before the 40-minute mark. Unrelated to Trevor's, again, we're all over the place and it's bad podcasting, but I got to bring this up too. You keep bringing up the St. Louis Blues and why the Canucks should still have faith. Internally, not externally, but internally, you want the room to always believe, especially when they're 30 games into the season, right? And they spend a lot of money. Dude, how about the Florida Panthers before they went on a cup run? Straight up. They're scraping and crawling to make the playoffs in the last game of the year. You know what I'm saying? Like, how does the captain and the leadership group on the Vancouver Canucks, how are they moving like it's over? And if they're going to blame the fan base and the media, dude, that is not very professional, yo. That is way too emotional. And again, the best teams block out the noise. Doesn't matter how loud it is. And we've already seen it this season. It's like way too soon. But once again, this team, the team's leaders, more notably, they don't got the sauce. They don't got the sauce, man.
They don't got the sauce. We'll see if Demko helps get them that sauce, whether we want it or not. Thatcher Demko's coming back, but we got to get out of here. I'm Trevor Beggs. That guy is Kyle Bhawan. If you like what we're doing, go share the episode with a friend on the YouTube side. Hit the goddamn like button. Subscribe to the channel. And on the podcast side, go follow us. Leave a 5-star review. We might talk more about hot butts tomorrow because I got something I want to unload. Stay tuned for that on Locked On Canucks.